I feel like as an overlander, I'm supposed to like winter camping, but the truth is I've never been before, and I have so many questions about it, like, will the rig drive on snowy roads? How cold is too cold? What kind of food do you eat? How do you stay warm in your tent? Is anybody crazy enough to go with you? Is it actually fun? So, I called up my Subourbon Cowboys buddies, and we all agreed, there's only one way to find out. Going with us on this trip was Lance and his Tundra, Chris and his Wrangler, Tim and his Disco, me and my Wrangler, and JP, who had not met up with this group yet, in his Taco. After doing a quick gear check, we headed off to meet JP. How do you feel about JP being so late?
Oh man, this ruins the trip. This ruins the trip. We should just cancel it and blame it on JP.
How do you feel about JP being late?
He needs to pull his head out of his ass and step on the gas.
Look! JP's here!
Willis?
Hey, how do you feel about being late?
Sorry, dude.
Are we gonna air down at that one spot? You know what I'm talking about? That's like right before it goes dirt?
I'd go right, it's right at the dam.
So we are on our way to Arrow Rock Dam. We're gonna air down there. I'm really interested to see if these roads get snowy quickly or they're gonna be pretty dry, so we'll find out. Is that your key?
Yeah.
After airing down, we took a moment to absorb the beauty of the Arrow Rock Dam and imagine the adventure that waited for us on the other side. We thought we saw something on the hill driving in, so we stopped to take a closer look. And what we found was a herd of elk grazing on the mountain grass. With this adventure now fully underway, we all started wondering about setting up camp in the cold. So, we're at camp. It's about 20 degrees. It's gonna
What are you making, Will?
Lance just brought our butter knife over. So we're cooking dinner, we have a fire going, and I just wanted to take a second to tell you what we're making here. This is a stew. It's a sausage, a pork sausage stew with corn and cauliflower and carrots and Brussels sprouts and onions and then some other stuff in there. All right, Chris, tell me how that stew is.
It's delicious.
Take a bite.
That's pretty great, Willis.
As the night grew colder, we were happy to have this pop-up fire pit because it allowed us to have a cleaner fire with less smoke. And honestly, even though it was cold, like really, really cold, sitting around the fire, telling stories, having drinks, and just sharing this experience together made it seem pretty great. However, there was a point in the night, let's say around 2 a.m. or so, where we realized we were going to have to climb into our own sleeping bags and experience this cold alone. Well, I survived. It was about 12 degrees last night, so it was really, really cold. But I didn't get very cold in bed. I'm going to take you through my bedding just so you can see what I used to stay warm last night. It's 3 blankets and 2 sleeping bags. So I've got a wool blanket on top, then I've got this like puffer blanket, and then I've got another puffer blanket, and then I've got one sleeping bag here that is a 17-degree sleeping bag inside another sleeping bag that is also 17 degrees. This totally worked. The next time I go cold camping, I will probably do some version of this setup. Luckily, everyone came out this morning. Everyone had their limbs and no ears lost to frostbite. All right, Lance. Lance, what's your setup?
I'm in a rectangular, like super heavy, non-packable sleeping bag with that, and then I've got 2 0 degrees as backup.
You got 3 sleeping bags up there just for you?
I got 3 sleeping bags and the blanket. I love camping like this. It's my favorite.
So this is JP's taco setup. Let's just take a look at how he gets in and out of this thing. What just happened?
Took some bungee cords, ran it across the top of the window, and then brought it down and around, hooked it here, and then on both sides, ran it through and hooked it up to the suspension there.
And how did it go?
I would say that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being supreme, it was like a 3.
It was cold. It was super cold. It was, I think, 12 degrees last night.
Me, I decided to try for the first time sleeping inside the Jeep, which seemed like a great idea, and it actually worked out pretty well temperature-wise. I wasn't too cold. I had my buddy heater that I would kind of turn on every once in a while. It was pretty nice. But the big problem was the actual space. I was too tall, and my legs kept cramping, and my arms kept cramping. I couldn't really get comfortable, but at least it wasn't due to the cold.
I think the thing that makes it the most doable or the most fun is just friends that come with you and hanging out and doing something that's a little crazy, but doing it together makes it a lot more fun. Walk me through your rooftop tent. What's going on here? Why does it look like you got wings?
I actually like it that way.
Tim, how many codes did Boris throw on the way up here?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, technically there were like 6 stored when I pulled it up, but I cleared all those. But the one code that it threw, it said suspension fault, algorithm-based failure, too many transitions/events. Yeah, there were. I was going over bumps.
Hey, what's that sound?
That's Boris's compressor.
What's it doing?
Filling with air.
Does it ever stop?
No, they just disappeared.
Today, we are going to go find hot springs. I don't know if we're gonna get in it or not. I mean, the thought of actually taking any of my clothes off at the moment seems ludicrous. Then we'll see what happens tonight. We don't really have a plan. So what we've been doing is driving around looking at hot springs along the Boise River here, and there are a ton of them, and marking them down and marking them for day trips.
So JP's truck is throwing a code, so he tried just cycling it on and off, and it didn't work.
You're in limp mode?
Yeah, but it's saying like full-on brake override malfunction, go to your dealer.
Luckily, our group has a few mechanically inclined people in it. Lance, who has the Tundra, is familiar with the Toyota interface, and Tim, who has the Disco Fixer-Upper, is familiar with a rig that throws lots of codes and sometimes does weird things. Between the two of them, they were able to quickly diagnose and come up with a temporary solution to the problem, which turned out to be a broken speed sensor on one of the wheels.
Yeah, there's a bolt that came out right there.
Does anybody have a zip tie?
I should, yeah. As friends, we like to give each other a good-natured hard time about each other's rigs, and I gotta say, the irony of the Toyota Tacoma breaking down in front of Disco Boris was not lost on JP or the rest of us.
I mean, it's going to be kind of touch and go.
So we are heading back. We're not gonna have another night out. There's a couple truck issues that JP's having, so he's a little nervous about being out. And I think that Chris wasn't super excited about sleeping in the back of his Jeep for another night. Probably have about 40 or 50 miles to go on these dirt roads before we get back to pavement. I'm just gonna enjoy the drive, enjoy the camaraderie, and call it a day. As we headed back to Arrow Rock Dam, I realized a lot of my questions about winter camping had been answered, but two important ones still remained. Was it actually fun, and would we do it again?
A lot of good laughs. Tim in full form.
When you say Tim in full form, what does that mean?
That means pretty much wild man.
Snow camping, definitely a unique experience. I'd do it again? Sure. I'd bring more heat stuff.
It was really cold. I didn't sleep very well at all. I stayed up way too late, and I would do it all again in a heartbeat.
Were you in the camera? Were you in the camera?
It's actually pretty great. I think you should leave it in.